Lo and behold, the Darksiders series is back after a long break. Darksiders 3 puts you in the shoes of one of the four horsemen named Fury. She set out on a mission to defeat the 7 deadly sins which will bring balance to the world. I'm not going to go any farther than that because it will spoil the story. But Darksiders 3 is a hack and slash adventure game of puzzles. This genre brings so much nostalgic feelings that many games in today's gaming industry doesn't have. To me, this is a positive because it brings diversity within the gaming industry and also brings a new light towards old genres. With any hack and slash game, the controls are amazing, and this game doesn't disappoint, which of course is what you usually get from a hack and slash game. There are flaws with one of the controls though, which I'll get into my negatives, but overall, if you played hack and slash games, you'll enjoy the controls like I did. One thing I do like about this game, but it does have its flaws as well, is the Watcher's help. If you don't know, in the story you'll have a Watcher near you by all times that is sent by the console. She's there to watch over you. When you're in need of assistance within the game, so for an example a puzzle, she'll help you out with some hints, but she won't always help, and it takes a long time before she gives out those hints. But nonetheless, a little helpful hint goes a long way into solving some of the things you have to do in this game. Also, Fury herself sometimes gives out hints too, so it's not only just the Watcher. One thing I've seen from a bunch of people online say that you should support this game because it has no microtransaction, or one of the biggest positives of this game is that it has no microtransactions. After reading those comments online, I realized, hey, this doesn't have microtransactions. I mean, it obviously wouldn't since there's nowhere to put it in this game, but time and time again we do see game publishers put microtransactions within games even if it doesn't make sense. So for me, that's a big plus that THQ Nordic didn't do that with this game. It comes to no surprise that Darksiders 3 has flaws and of course some negatives, but before I get into the actual flaws, one of my biggest negatives I have about this game is the checkpoint system. It's so frustrating and dumb in my eyes. Now to give context to what I mean, I'll give an example. In the first couple of minutes of the game, your first boss battle is against Envy. But before I go any further, no, it's not a spoiler, because legit within the first couple of minutes of the game, you'll be introduced to her. But anyways, before you meet her, there's quite a bit of enemies you will have to face before facing her. After you defeat the enemies, you'll get into the battle with her, but let's say you die, which you will a lot, since even the weakest enemies can do very effective damage. Instead of dying and returning back to where you left off, like most games, it takes you all the way back to the original checkpoint. So that means you have to fight those enemies again and go back to her. It's frustrating because as you go further in the game, there's more difficult enemies in your way before getting to the boss battle, which will take your health low, and if you have any health respawns, it will take a good chunk of those items away. Now with most games you will get technical issues, or some will say flaws, but my experience with these issues weren't great. I've seen online people say that most of the issues are on the PS4 copy, and I can definitely say that's true. I've had many issues with my copy. In the beginning it was mostly game freezes, but it was occasional as later as I got deeper in the game, I got game freezes very often between a span of a couple minutes. But not just that, as these game freezes started to happen more often, I got rendering issues and frame rate drops. Now if you think that's bad, I also had audio issues. Like the game freezes, in the beginning it was minimal, but later when I was playing, somehow the audio itself went away. At first I thought it was my TV, then my capture card, and then my game console. And then I decided to take the game out, and the audio came back as I took it out. I tried playing other games to see if it was still going on, but nothing happened. Then I realized it was the game itself. It's a shame that for $60 you're paying for a game with multiple issues, but before I go anymore, I don't know if this is just only the PS4 copy. Now back to my flaw about one of the controls, and that's targeting, if you want to consider that as a control. So basically in this game, if you want to fight in particular an enemy, you target them. The issue I have with this is that most fights you'll be fighting usually 7 people plus at a time, which means there will be people behind you and in front of you. When you target someone, the camera basically points to the target, which then you can't see the people from behind, and sometimes even in the far right and left corner of the camera angle. So the game shows an indicator when you're about to get hit from behind, or anywhere else the camera doesn't show. The issue with that is that it doesn't exactly show the timing of when you're going to get hit from behind, so you'll probably continuously dodge. Now if you continuously dodge on some areas of the map, you can actually fall to your death, so watch out. But in most areas within the game are tight and narrow places, and that's when the camera bugs out. Overall, targeting just sucks in this game. One thing that sucks about this game is the long loading screens. Now you won't really notice it at first as you won't die as much, and also you're not farther in the game. But when you are further in the game and you also die a lot, you will start to notice it for sure. The loading screens could be spanned between 1 to 2 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes, especially when you're getting into the game, when you're first starting up the game and getting into it. Now it sucks as it stops the quick play of the game, but overall it's not a good thing whatsoever. Now, I do my reviews two ways. The first review is 1 through 10, the basic easy way of doing it. And then the second way, is it worth it for the given price point? So I can either say yes, I can say wait for sale, or I can say ignore / pass. If I want to go harsh enough, I could say trash too. Now for my first rating, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I would have gave it a 7.5 out of 10 until I met those flaws. I mean, those ridiculous game freezes and everything. And I would have gave it probably an 8 out of 10 if it wasn't for that $60 price tag. It's a fun game, but $60 for a game that has these type of troubles, I don't know if I would pay for anymore. But like I said, it might just be the PS4 copy, but at the same time, even if it was, I still wouldn't even pay the $60 price tag. Now for my second rating, I don't think it's worth the $60 price tag, even without the flaws. Now I'm not saying it's a bad game, but what I'm trying to say, it's not worth 60 bucks. I actually enjoyed the game, but 60 bucks is too high for this game. To me, if you can get this between 30 to 40 bucks, it's worth a buy, especially if you're into hack and slash adventures, because you will enjoy it. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more gaming content like this or just gaming content in general, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you for the next video.